Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you about the Certify API. So basically Certify API is API where you can grab, verify and generate your certificates at one stop. So basically you can generate your certificates. So this generation of certificate is automated and you can grab your certificates, like you can share with your participants who can avail the certificates, and they can grab the certificates, and they can also verify the certificates if they are tampered or not. So with the special UID that has been attached with the certificate. So this is the API documentation that has been written for the Certify API. So this is a complete documentation of this API. So which where there are many features that this API can provide. So I'll talk about in second. So what can this do API do? So basically this API is used to generate the certificates. So basically these certificates are automated certificates that will be generated in the backend using Python. So and you can fetch these certificates. So you can share with the participants about your event code and the participant ID. So participants can directly enter their event code and the participant ID, and they can grab the certificates. And they can also verify the certificates. So each of the certificate will be added a QR code on it. So they can scan this QR code and can verify the authenticity of the certificate. And finally, about the authentication. So basically, this API. Uh, since this is an API, it requires authentication. So firstly, this API is divided into two categories: unauthorized and authorized. So generation of the certificates is authorized, and non-generation of the certificates, like let's say grabbing the certificates, verification of certificates, it's unauthorized. So any people can verify the certificates, any people can grab the certificates. So that does not need any API key or the username password. And last thing is authentication, which means that you need not write your own authentication code. Since the Certify API has itself an authentication, like you can verify the user, you can sign up, you can do anything you want if you are making a web app. So there are several features that have been included in the Certify API other than this. So before going into this, I'll talk about the documentation and I'll come back to this. So talking about the documentation, first thing is fetch certificate. So if the participant is being issued a certificate, let's say there is an event X and the participant has been issued the certificate. So in order to fetch the certificate, the participant needs the event code and the participant ID so that he can search this certificate from the event X. So let's say that the event X has been conducted and the participant has an event code over here 3456 and the participant ID is 1235. So this participant can enter the, like they can he can make an API call to this endpoint, passing his this endpoint name is a fetch certificate endpoint, along with the parameters of name, his university, and other parameters that have been listed over here. The main important parameters are event code and the participant ID. So he can pass this event code and the participant ID, and he can grab the certificate. So this certificate somewhat looks like this. So, and there are many other certificates which I'll be talking about. So next is a verification of certificate. Since I have shown the certificate example, so the certificate comes with a unique QR code for each certificate. So participants can scan the certificate, or if not the participants, if there is any other person who wants to check the authenticity of the certificate, you can scan the certificate. And this after scanning the certificate, you will be redirected to URL to show whether the certificate is authenticated or not. And you will also get the details of whom the certificate is being issued and what purpose the certificate is being issued. So for that, you need to make an API call to this verify certificate endpoint, and you need to pass the UID number of the certificate if you don't want to scan this particular certificate. So basically, after scanning the certificate, also you will get the same endpoint, like same URL that is being shown over here. So you can directly go into the browser, you can type this, or you can make an endpoint call from the Postman API. So here you can see that the certificate is being verified, and the participant name is template 2 new test. It's just a random name that I've given, and the date issued is January 23, 2022, and the content is normal certificate, and his position is null. If there is any position like runner, winner, something like that, then the position will be also added. So next, this is the verify certificate, and this is the generate fetch certificate. So these two are unauthorized. Any people can do verify and generate. Verify and fetching the certificate. So next comes is request referral, which I'll be talking about in a second. And next is a user sign up. So users can sign up in order to generate the certificate. So let's say there is an event X, and the participant and the organizer of the event wants to start creating the certificates and adding it into his dashboard. So before doing that, he need to sign up for this sign up for this API. So basically we call it as an API key. So instead of API key, what we add is username and password. So you need to pass a username and password. So after passing this username and password, he will be given a new account. So with this username and password, let's test with the Postman API that is being here. So let's say the participant wants to create a sign up. So in order to sign up, he needs to pass these two parameters, name and the referral code. So basically referral code is nothing but an organization structure. So I'll talk about this. So since I've been talking about, so first feature is organization structure. So basically, let's say there are three people, ABC, who are conducting event X. So let's say that ABC wants to create certificates in the same dashboard. Let's say they are having since they are having a same hackathon X, they don't want different dashboards for each of them. So basically, the person A will approach and this API, and he will be generating a referral code. This referral code will be used by him, and like now he is a part of an organization with this referral code. So now let's say if the new person want to join this organization, like you can pass this A person can pass this referral code to him, so that both of them will be added to the same organization. So in this way, each person have their unique username and password, but they will be added into the same organization structure. So similarly, this process keeps on repeating of how many people you want to add the same organization. So people can also work individually if they don't want to add few other people to this API. So after doing that, so first thing any person need to do when they visit this API is to generate their own referral code. So after generating their referral code, they can sign up. So let's say Smithy is a person who wants to sign up for this. So basically, Smithy is given a referral code. This is the referral code that the Smithy is being issued. So you can use this referral code and name and username and password as a headers. So you can pass this and you can sign up to this API. So after sign up only, then he can generate the certificates, because without any authentication, the persons cannot generate the certificates, because other people can manipulate the certificates. That's why user sign up is authenticated. User sign up addition of certificates is everything is authenticated. So next is verification of users. So if the persons are creating any dashboard, something like this, which I'll show you. So if the let's say that people want to generate the certificates, and they have a username and password. So if they want to create an dashboard for them, like let's say I'm creating a new web app called a Certify web app. So if I want to add the username and password, I need not create my new authentication system. I can just directly call this API endpoint of verification of user as passing username and password. So let's say I have created this new application which is using the Certify API. So the user can input the username and password and they can log in. So I can they can pass to this endpoint that this person wants to log in. Do they have the account? So this endpoint will automatically verify for you. You need not write any new code for that. So this verify user will generate the output response like, according to that. Let's say in the Postman API, if the user is sign up now. So let's say I am have verify user. I gave the username and password. So let's say send this to the API endpoint, and it says that user has been successfully verified. Let's say that the person gave the incorrect username. Let's say 1332 send. So then it says that user data not found. Like it might be because the username is not found. So let's give the same username but different password. Let's say like this. Then it will say invalid credentials because username exists but the password does not matches. So this is how you can directly pass to this endpoint about the person who wants to join into your organization. Let's say username and password, you can be verified. So next is get all events. So let's say I've created a web app and I started adding these events. So instead this endpoint, what will it do is you can pass the username and password to this endpoint, and it will return all the events that are being created by you, so that you can list all of them in your dashboard. So it does not make any additional work for you, because you have your username here and your password. So let's say here we have Smithy again. So Smithy, he created some events and some certificates for that event. So let's say he created a event name as hackathon 101, and his event is code is 101. So if he wants to list all this into his dashboard, he will pass this endpoint. Like he will call this endpoint with his valid username and password, and if he sends, then the request will return all the hackathons or all the events that have been created by him. He just created only one event, so that's why it's seeing only one event. So next up is get all certificate. Next up is the register event. So Smithy wants to add a new event. Let's say he wants to create a new registration of like creating a new event. So then he can pass the event name, event code, context, and template. So if he wants to register for a new event, then he need to pass all these parameters, and we will create a new event according to like in his database. Like this structure has been made that every username and password, like let's say I'm the new user, I'm signing up for this account, then I'll be created a separate table for me in the database, and this process goes on. So let's say Smithy wants to register a new event, he needs to pass username and password that he is adding to his account, and then again this event name and the event code. So new event, let's say he's creating a hackathon 102, then the event code for that, and the certificate default content indicates what is the like if the certificate does not have any content. Let's say let's go to this So here it says for winning in the line follower competition conducted by the robotics club. So let's say this is one of the context for the certificate. So like this, the certificates for that event, the specific content can be passed over here. If this content wants to be overwritten, then during the process of addition of certificates, this content can be overwritten. Next is get all event certificates. So since you have seen this, let's say let's log in again. So suppose Smithy has these many hackathon events, like have these many events, and he wants to add a new certificate. So in his dashboard, if you want to see what are all the certificates that I have created in that particular event, then you can pass this endpoint. He can pass it to the endpoint that I've created these many events. I have like this for this event, I want to get all the certificates that I have created under that event. So you can pass this to the endpoint that says get all event certificates, and he will pass the rest needed parameters like the event code and the authorization, username and password. And if he sends this to the API endpoint, it will return all the certificates that have been created by him. So you can see that the certificate name is UID number 1 UID, the second UID. So he had created many certificates under his event. So all the certificates will be returned to him as a JSON object. And next is addition of certificate. So Smithy wants to add a new certificate, let's say this. So he needs to pass all the parameters for this. So and the authorization, username and password, then he need to pass all the parameters. Since I have said that the default content can be overwritten, so here he wrote that the content will be for winning the capture the flag. Like he had overwritten the content that have been created earlier. And also the position for the participant. So basically this add certificate endpoint needs two important parameters: participant ID and participant event code. So that under the 101 event, this participant 456 will be issued a certificate with this content and with this position. So this is how this certificate will be generated. So let's see in this in action. So add certificate, and if I say this I need to add this for this participant John. He's the winner of this competition and for winning the capture, etc. And this event code and this participant ID. The headers will be username and password of the Smithy. And if I say send, it says that a certificate for that participant already exists. So since I have already tried this, so let's say new thing, new person. Let's say Peter Parker, Spider-Man. So and I also need to change this event participant ID because every participant will not have the same ID. So let's say 4500 is a participant ID. So I'll send this to the endpoint because I want to add under the event 101 this participant had participated and he's a winner again. So now I'll get a response that the message user successfully verified and the certificate has been added and this is the certificate URL. So if I quickly go to the certificate, so we can see that the Peter Parker Spider-Man has been issued on the Jan 24, 2022 for winning in the capture the flag, the competition, and the standing position is winner for him. And we will also get this data. So like this, we can generate the certificate. Suppose let's say that Peter Parker want to verify the certificate or fetch his certificate. So let's say now we have Peter Parker's participant ID is 4500 and his event code is 101. So in order like Peter Parker wants to get the certificate from anywhere around the world, he just needs to fetch the certificate. So for fetching the certificates, he needs to pass this event code. So now the event code is 101 and the Peter Parker's participant ID is 4500 that we know. So you can send this API request and it will return the participant name is Peter Parker Spider-Man and the UID number has been issued and it will return the same certificate link which has been written earlier. So if someone wants to verify this Peter Parker certificate, they can scan this QR code. So if they scan this QR code, they will be redirected to another URL, and they can see that if the Peter Parker certificate is being verified or not. So if since I can't do scanning of the certificate, I know the UID number of the Peter Parker, so I'll just copy this and I'll call this an endpoint which says verify certificate. In the verify certificate, I can pass the UID number of the Peter Parker. So I'll paste this, and if I say send, we can see that the certificate status is verified and the certificate name is being issued to participant name is Peter Parker and the date issued is Jan 24, 2022 and the content and position. So if person wants to verify this, he can directly call this endpoint with this UID number or he can scan this QR code. This QR code will again take him to this URL. So let's say this URL is being pasted in the browser. Here also it will say the same status. It says the certificate is verified, etc. So next is show API key. So if a person wants to get this API key instead of username and password passing every time, he can request for an API key. So basically this API key will be generated to him if he passes this username and password. Let's say Smithy wants to find his API key. So this Smithy is username and Smithy is user password. So you can send this to the API endpoint and it will return his API key and this is username. So this is how you can get the API key. So instead of every time passing this username and password, he can directly pass this API key and he can fetch the certificates, addition of certificates, anything he wants. And next upcoming is show referral code. Since I've told about the organization structure, and if let's say Smithy forgot his referral code, or he wants to add it into his dashboard, let's say this is a dashboard and he wants to add his referral code somewhere into the dashboard, then he can ask for the referral code that he's having. So so that the other people who wants to join can provide this referral code and join into the same organization that Smithy is in. So he can call this endpoint, says show referral, and he can pass this username and password, and he can send this request, and it will return him the username, like referral code. So I can use this same referral code, and I can sign up. Let's say I want to sign up new person as a new person. So let's my new name is hello. So my referral code will be the Smithy's referral code that you have given me. So I have pasted it, and I need to create my username and password. So let's say I want to create a new username and new password. Let's let it be. So I'll send this. Now it says that user successfully created. Now under the referral code of the Smithy, these two people will be joined as an organization. So whatever Smithy sees, I can see. So in order to try this, I can try this. Let's say I want to get this get all the certificates. So instead of passing the Smithy's username, I'll pass my username and send. And boom, you can see that all the certificates that Smithy had created will be now accessible to me, because I am under the same organization that the Smithy is in, with the same referral code that I am in. So next is the email of certificate. So email of certificate, if the participant wants to email his certificate, like he will provide his participant ID and the event code, and he wants his certificate to be emailed to him, then he will pass this required parameters such as event code, participant ID, email, and his name and university, so that the certificate will be emailed directly to him. So I'll show how this email looks. So this is how the email looks. This is on auto-generated mail, and this is the link to access to your certificate. So on clicking on that link, he will be directly redirected to the certificate, which is his certificate. So he can request for the email. So as I talked about the organization structure, next feature that we have already is automation of certificates. So automation of certificates is nothing but you can add certificates from anywhere using this endpoint, and not only that, you can add Excel based automation. So let's say I have an Excel sheet that says event code, participant ID, since these are the main parameters for every certificate creation, and the participant name, position, and the content. This is the content part. So I can directly call, like instead of calling multiple times URL, so I can directly write a small code that says calling this API endpoint several times. So I can run this code using this API doc. Sorry, using this Excel. So now it says that certificate already exists. So since I have tried it already, I just need to change the participant's ID. Let's say the participant's ID is 1001 and 1002. So these are the two participants, and these they want to be issued new certificates. Hello, my name is, sorry, they should be named. So the participant name is, let's keep the name as it is. And if I call this a program again, here I can, oh, certificate of that participant already exists. Sorry. So I need to change this to a good number. So let's say 9876, so something like that. And the new participant also needs to be given a new number, so 98777. And I save this, and I'll call this again, so that these certificates are, these Excel will be read, and the new certificates will be generated for these people. So now we can see one of the certificate has been generated. I can go on there and see that certificate. So Lal Bhagat Singh SS, so first certificate, and next is Veera Simha Beam. So, and second certificate is also being generated. I can go to this and I can see that Veera Simha Beam. So not only this certificate will, this Excel will be renamed as, like, new Excel will be created which says output.xlx. So I can open this. So let it open. So I can directly see over here that participants along with the name, this certificate link also been added, so that it makes the organizers easy, that they can directly run this code. They can just put the name, random names, like not the random names. If the new participants have already participated, they can add the multiple names and multiple content for all of them, and they can directly call this code, and they can generate the certificates at one time, all the certificates. And all the certificates will be again added into the links. All the links will be added, so that they need not again fetch for the link and store this link. And they can share with these participants about their event code, and the participant, they can directly fetch this the participants can directly fetch these certificates. This is the automation of certificates that we have included. Next is API integration. Since I've shown, if the participants want to create a beautiful dashboard and wants to add this into the backend, they can directly add our API into their backend instead of making a new web app with their own code. So this API will help them to integrate this directly. So next is fetching of certificates. Since I have talked about API integration, they can directly fetch. So if the participants wants to add into their dashboard about the fetching of certificates, let's say get certificates, so they can directly like people can fetch if the certificate is not found, certificate is not found. If the participants wants to fetch it like this, like if the certificate exists, they can beautifully display their certificate using the link that will be written by our API. So next thing is multiple templates. So since I have not talked about the templates, so there are two templates that we have included right now as of now. So we can also increase the number of templates that we are generating. So this is the first template that you are seeing right now. So I can create a new event with a new template, and this is the other template that we have included. So I can directly pass the name, I can pass the parameters that are included, and the certificates will be automatically generated. So you can directly use the template number. So at the creation of the new event, so register event, I can pass the template number that I am using. So right now I'm using the template number 2 for the Smithy's account. So if I want to create a new event under the Smithy account, I need to pass a new template number, then I can do that as well. So next is QR based authentication. As we talked about, this QR code will be redirected to the other URL where the participants can verify the certificates. It looks like this. So and it will show the status where it's verified or not. I'll quickly try with a new number. So let's say 6. Let me say is the last number. Uh, and it says that not verified. Certificate is not verified. We cannot find your the number provided. Please check in or contact the issuer. So it says that the people cannot tamper with the certificates. So if we want to create if we want to protect our authentic, that's why we have added a QR based. So next is email of the certificate, as we talked about. So certificates can be requested to be sent as an email. So participants can ask for their email, give their email and ask for the certificate, and it will be automatically sent. And next is simple to use. So everything has been listed in the documentation that I have told you. So everything is being listed over here, and also this request, like we can change the which language that we are working with. Suppose I am working with CURL, so it will give you the links for curl that you can work with. Suppose let's say I'm working with a Python, then I can change this language to the Python request. Then it will show you the code for the Python, and you can directly use this code. And next is certificate can be like certificates can be integrated anywhere. Like this API can be integrated anywhere you want. You just need to call the request library or any library that you are working with, and we will send you back the data. And next is usable on system. So I can directly go to my command prompt. I can type this verify URL. So let's say I'm using a command prompt. I can type this. So or let's say I'm using a small Python code in order to add the certificate. So let's say Smithy wants to add a new certificate from his command prompt. So Smithy used his username and password, and he wants to create this. Like this is the event code that he's adding. Like 101 is the event code, and the participant ID, let's say 7890, and let's save this. So I can directly go to my command prompt, and I can call this Python request.py, and let's wait for request to accept it and new certificate being generated. So let's say the message says that user successfully verified and successfully certificate has been added, and the certificate URL is has been generated. So I can copy the certificate URL, copied it, and I can go to this browser and I can type this. So I'll get again the certificate that has been issued for the job. So like this, users can be this API is very simple to use and can be integrated anywhere in your web apps. Thank you.